Hi, I'm Dawn Price. I'm owner of Bat City Builders. I'm a remodeling custom home builder in Austin, Texas, and the surrounding areas. So if you're in the area of Texas, by Austin, I'm the girl you want to call. So I am a woman-owned business. I'm small, but I do large projects. And that has to do with my customer service and the value that I bring to people, which you'll get to know. I do offer a free introduction, and that's so important. If you have any questions, please, if you're trying to remodel, if you're looking at your new first-time home buyer and you want to buy a house and you're like, but I'm going to have a fixer-upper, give me a call before you buy the house, particularly, because you want to get a lowdown on that price. And you're like, how much does it cost if I want to do this, this, and that? I get a lot of those, and those are always surprising on how much it costs to do that. So that's really important. We're going to introduce videos all through the series that will answer some questions that we know come up. So it's going to be like, questions and things that I answer. And I talk about all these different topics, and we'll come up with more as we go. But this was my way of saying, hi, welcome to my world. Want you to come join me at some time. So we'll go about some trends here. So, um, if we look at my generation, we could take a house, we could buy a house, and we expected to have to fix it up. If it was a resale house or we bought new, if we didn't want to have the resale issues, we bought new, which is no guarantee you're not going to have issues, by the way. Production build quality has gone downhill. Doing it, for example, I think the easiest way to say that is if you're building a house by a production builder in a production neighborhood, soil sampling and foundation plans are already done. All your engineering is this standard engineering. It's not based on your specific location. When I come in and any custom home builder remodeler comes in after the neighborhood, after your house is built. So if a house is built on a property, it cannot be in production build. You can't have a production builder come in, fix your house up, or build you a new one, even if you had a cleared lot. They won't do it. They don't have that capability because they're set in they build like a factory line. It's just that's how they build. That's why you have such a discount in their production. They also, the way that they do their inspections are a little different. They're so cookie cutter that it's just easier. You do get a production build quality over a custom build quality. Actually, when I'm hiring people, I remind that I'm not production build, and if that's what you normally do, you're not going to be part of my staff. It is just a different set of standards you adhere to. Doesn't mean it's bad, doesn't mean that it's good. That is what it is, and that's how they are able to provide homes for, 95% of Americans, because most people can't afford a custom home build. If I'm doing, it's like your insurance. That's another thing I can go on a tangent about. Insurance. When you're insuring your own home on home insurance this day and age, there's a break point. Insurance will not, if your home is a total loss, insurance will not cover for you to rebuild like for like. You can find an insurance company who will do that, but I don't think you're going to want to pay that much a year for that insurance. It's very expensive. I don't even I have a production build home. They did a good job on my home. I have really very little complaints, so you can actually do that. But if my house burned down, I couldn't replace it right now for exactly what it is. It would be astronomical. And I'm not insuring to that point. Now, me being a builder allows me that capability to do that, but and that would be questionable. So there's all these things when you sit down and you think about that insurance. The point that I want to let you guys all know about is if you're going to do homeowners insurance, what you want to do is insure the house enough that if you had a total disaster, you can walk away from it and have enough money on a down payment to go get a new one. Because to rebuild on the home, so if you bought a house for 150 per square foot to build for someone who is a non-production builder to build that home, you start at $300 per square foot. So, and that's a good number. Sometimes you can get it down to 275, maybe 250. But if you think about your square footage to that number, you can see why it becomes impossible to build. You have building codes, and as long as it's up to the building codes, and you're going to see a cat walking around. Sorry, everybody. You're going to see building code. Everybody builds to the building code of that time when the house is built. I'm not going to disqualify any builder. But the thing is in the state of Texas, you should be building to a building code that the state, if you're not in a county, if it's not part of a city, you have, I think it's 2016 is set for the state. So that's the building code that everybody is supposed to follow. So that's the big thing. And then you can do independent inspections, which is what you always want. And it's not the real estate inspection. You're doing a code inspection. So those are two different things. Real estate inspection, please get it. I'm not going to say don't get it when you buy real estate, because some of them are good and they'll point out true issues, but they'll also point out in a 27-page document how many things are not up to code, which doesn't matter when you buy a house. But when you're getting an inspection, you want to hire inspectors that do inspections on buildings, not on building a house, not as a real estate inspector. So those are two different inspections. Okay, so I've gone off on a big tangent on all of that. Hopefully she can pick up some of that somewhere. So.
Yeah, and I think that with the last part, you cover one of the questions because it says permits, codes, and regulatory surprises. So I think.
Oh, yeah, we can talk about those. So regulatory surprises. Yeah. So
But
go ahead, what?
no. Do you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, we can do that one because since I'm on the tangent, might as well.
Okay.
So I follow generally Austin, because I work in Austin, and the surrounding areas. They all adopt the new code once it's out, and code comes out every 3 years. So right now we're on the 2024 residential code. It's actually stacked up behind me, those lovely little books. And the energy code, those are the big things that are going on right now. Energy code is really, really hard. Everybody needs to be, we're all talking about efficiency, there's so many different things we're talking about. The question is this is all the time. It's your wish list versus your need list and want list. So, yeah, hey, being a master negotiator helps me with this so much. So what I do is that's what that initial Zoom meeting, which I never want this to happen again. I walked into a house, they want to do an addition to their house, which they want to convert part of their attic. Okay, so we started this process. It took longer than my architect took way too long. Took longer than I expected. And when I came in to do walk the site with my plumber and everybody else, they put new floors in. I was like, okay, why did you put new floors in? Because we're gonna rip them up. We had to put a staircase here. I was like, so one of the big things is that I want to know what you want to do. Now, it doesn't mean I have to put your flooring in if it's something that isn't required. So I understand. There is a certain, because I say I work on a margin. If you don't need a permit to put it in, I'm not going to really necessarily do it. Because unless you really want me to, I will. Don't get me wrong. I will take money, please. But it doesn't make sense. And so I have, if you have a job that doesn't necessarily need permitting, there's a couple ways that I just say, hey, it doesn't really need someone like me. I also do consulting, so I can actually help you with it, and then I just charge you a consulting bill. So it's affordable both ways, it makes it easy on us. But I want to know what's important, what really has to be done. And it's anything that has to be permitted, you want me to do. Now, when I bought my home, and just to give you an example, I built the home and we were talking to, what those upgrades when you're doing a custom home builder and how much those upgrades cost. So I have to finish my permit out, I have to have a final flooring in. I just can't put your house and have a subfloor in and be like, oh, the client's taking care of that. They will not pass me. I cannot complete code with that. Please don't ask me to do that. However, if you want to actually put, like in my house, we did all baseline carpet. We did put our tile in our bathrooms and our kitchen, and our entryway, but we wanted wood floors. And we wanted a nice wood floor. It wasn't the builder grade that we were looking at. We're like, I don't want that. So what we did was we just put in the house the base, the cheapest carpet you could find and get from that builder. That's what I put in. I had them, they put that in for me. And then before we moved in, I had the flooring people come in and put the flooring in. There's always an option. I am willing to work with my clients on what's good and what's bad. It's like, I had another set of clients who we built their patio, and my God, I was astonished on how much their patio already existed, by the way. And it was a fairly new house. And I was just enclosing the patio, making a conditioned space. They called me up and asked me, we really want this done. And I'm like, well, I'm a GC is going to cost a lot, is basically, I told them that right up front. Yes, you do need a permit to do this, but I am going to be on the expensive side because it's a very small project. Now, it was just up the street from me, so I'm able to do that. If you're close to me and I don't have to travel very far, I can do the smaller projects, but realize that I cost a lot. And because I'm a GC, this isn't my bread and butter is big remodels. So they said no, they really truly wanted me. And I am really glad they hired me because it was a mess of problems at their house. So, but when I first was doing the bid, I thought, okay, max $60,000. I thought that was crazy, but I'm doing an addition. It is basically considered an addition, but I'm not pouring foundation. So I'm like thinking it shouldn't be, it should not be more than $60,000. I priced their edition out. I kid you not, it was $109,000. I was flabbergasted by it when I got done with the pricing, and I'm like, we got to fix something on this. I don't know what's going wrong, but we got to fix something because this isn't right. And so we really worked on, pricing that. They ended up staying with me. They paid $93,000 for their edition. And that was, we also added patio outside. So there was not only just an addition, we added patios and we had it textured. But with that, it was insane. I actually had to strip down their stucco twice. And I talked through them. I worked through everything with them. And we really made it work. So I can't guarantee a perfect project. That word does not exist. There's no such thing as perfection. But what I do strive is to make it up to code, do it right. I would love to say we do it, my contractors do it right the first time, but then I come along, look at it, and tell them to redo it before you ever see it. Um, so by the time we're done, we get it done right. So those are the things that are really, when you're trying to prioritize a house, I want to come in and I want to know, what are all your wants and dreams? What makes sense, what doesn't? And I actually take that time in that first call, the introductory call that we do that consultation. That's what we talk about. What do you want? What makes sense? What doesn't make sense? How does this work? A lot of the time I ask, I've had people call me and they want to do all this work to their house. And sometimes it makes sense to sell the home and go buy a new one. I have given that to people, because that's what best fits them. And that's the important part, is that I look out at my client and go, okay, this isn't about me. It's about you. How can we make this work? And what makes sense to you? Here's your gamut of options. You choose. I've had guys who had investments and they had to fix their house because their renters were horrible. And I go, well, you got a couple options. Do you want to fix the house or do you want to sell it and let somebody else do it? He decided to sell it and let someone else fix it because he didn't want to deal with it anymore. So I'm like, hey, I lost that as a project, but at the same time, the gentleman's happy. And that's really what it comes down to is I got into the business to make sure that I was doing right. I like to help people. That is, even though I'm that A type personality, D type personality, I'm straightforward, there's no fluff about me. I'm lucky if I remember to ask how you're doing today when I say hello. But I do care. I want you to be happy in the long run. So that's kind of what I bring in and make sure that you have options because ultimately it's your choice. If you want to make your house be Austin weird, you can make your house be Austin weird and I will do it for you. If you're calling me and you're comparing me, and there's a lot of other good people out here that will tell you the same thing, and those are the people you want to be calling. They don't do an estimate. If you have a GC that comes to your house and you're doing a big remodel, I'm not talking about just a bathroom. If you're doing a big house remodel, you're doing an addition, and you have a GC that comes out and tells you he can do it, and he gives you an estimate within 3 days, run like hell. That's the best advice I can give you because there is no way I could provide you an estimate. I give you a ballpark. I can tell you where that, and my ballpark's going to sway. It can sway sometimes $50,000. But what I've been, and this is how I've been focusing in to help people out is tell me what you, and this is what that initial phone call is. This is why I asked for a Zoom call. Because I want to know, what do you want? And then I help you figure out what you need, and I help you figure out a budget. And I've done this for the last number of them. What is the amount of money you realistically can spend? And can I do it for that amount? And I'm honest. I mean, if I don't, because I do my construction in 2 phases. I do a design agreement. And then once we figure out that full budget, we spend time. It takes us time because I got to develop plans. Plans take 60 days at the minimum because you need an architect, and then you have engineering, and then you have me price it. It takes me a month to price out a project because I'm not doing allowances. I'm doing how much does it cost to actually buy the products you want in your home. And I give you, if I get a discount, you get the discount. I mean, I try and scrape because I want your money to go as far as you can make it go to get what you want. And that's really important. I make my money off of what I sell, but there's a point to where I like to sleep at night. So there's I have a standard, there's an industry standard. And when you sign my contract, we go over that and I tell you. Um, but I am very open about that. So you get to see it. But most people, their standard in the industry is, if you do we work on a margin. 35% is if you have a really good company that does this, they're a 35% margin. So that's a realistic margin. And that helps everything because you got to have profit and you got to have overhead because I can't bill you my cost directly. We got to work on more than one project at a time in order for me to actually work. But at the same time, when we look at that, we allocate our time as a whole. And so you got to think about those things as you're having people on. I can't directly bill you for every minute I'm on your project. You couldn't afford it. So we got to come up with a price that works. And so I really do work hard at making it competitive with my competitors. Um, I am not one of those. There's two different scenarios. You have a remodeler, custom home builder, or you have Chuck in the truck. Chuck in the truck. But the Chuck in the truck is someone who will give you that estimate and, in 2 days, and then it's about this much. Well, I know what I'm doing. I don't need a plan. Those are the people, when you hear that, run. Um, so that is something that I'm very passionate about, and I work with people on it. I mean, it doesn't say that I'm perfect, and not, you're going to run into things you've never seen before. You're going to run into, okay, you want that in your house? I'll do that. I've had some things where I'm just going, okay, that's not my style, but it's yours. I do it. Um, I did get someone to stop me in their track they wanted a Barbie pink front door, and I absolutely said no. Um, so I was like, I can't, okay, if you really, really want me to do it, I'll do it. But that was a no. I'm like, ooh, I don't want to do that. But with that, I really want to have a realistic conversation with you about your project, give you some ideas of how much that project's going to cost. I've had lots of conversations with potential clients that called me and they wanted a bathroom remodel. And I frankly told them, generally my bathroom remodels, if I'm doing a bathroom remodel, that it's about $50,000. That's my ballpark. And it's never going to change from that ballpark. If it's a master bathroom, it can range from 75 to 250,000 if you really wanted to. It just depends what you want. Now, getting it under that price can get interesting because there's set costs. And that's when you have to know when it's a good idea to hire a GC or have the bath and kitchen people do it. Now, they are good at what they do, don't get me wrong. It's just like installing windows. If they're good Windows installers, they get the permit, they do what they need to do, you should never have a problem. So it just depends. But I have those conversations because a lot of people don't understand what it takes to do a project. And this comes with I have warranties, I have insurance. So there's just a whole bunch of stuff that I share with you because I'm very transparent. When I say transparent, I say transparent. So I give you a copy of what my contract looks like at day one. So you see how much effort's going to go into what a construction contract is, all the legal requirements, and what I'm doing. So you get a chance to review that. I mean, for me, it is just something that I do. Um, and my processes they're very open, but what I don't want is to get to, getting in the project and then all of a sudden, oh, I have price changes. Now I have to add $20,000 onto this project because we didn't expect this. That you don't want. I do not like change orders in a project because it costs time and money for both of us. It costs me time, costs me money to stop what I'm doing, look at what you want, change it. If I have to go get a permit to change it, that's even more time and money. And then I have to make sure that everybody knows that there's a change coming. Now, that's different than if I open up a wall and I see something that's not good, I don't leave it there. I call up my client and say, hey, we ran into this. I have contingencies in my projects that can deal with it. We talk about it and I say, this has to be done. I won't pass code. We want to get this problem solved for you. So I'm going to get a quote on that and we're going to fix it. So I deal with that. That I don't charge change order fees for. But if you just randomly in the middle of the project decide you want to change something, which is perfectly fine, I do charge a fee for that, even if you don't do what you heard in the video. Even if you didn't like it, please leave a comment. Let us know. But like and subscribe. So we can keep providing you on topic. If you have any suggestions, let us know. If you're going to remodel, if you're going to look at a custom home builder, please give me a call. I'd love to talk to you about your project. Until then, talk to you soon. Bye.